This past week, Governor Palin made another endorsement, this time backing Zach Dasher, who's running for Congress out of Louisiana. Palin wrote on social media, quote, "A few months ago, I had the chance to hear Zach Dasher speak right before his uncle, the Duck Commander himself, Phil Robertson, addressed the audience at the Republican Leadership Conference in Louisiana. After, I told Zach that we need more young, passionate warriors like him in Washington. Zach Dasher is just the type of next-generation conservative we need in Congress, and I'm glad he and his family have accepted the call and the challenge to enter the political fray," unquote. You heard right, folks. This is Phil Robertson's nephew, a great family man. He's pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and a talented businessman, now backed by Governor Palin. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, including her full endorsements of Didier and Dasher, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page, follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and visit sarahpalinchannel.com.
It's time for Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson and Kevin Scholla.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Kevin, I'm doing great. Hope you had a good week.
I did, actually. Yourself?
It was very nice. I'm very interested in watching the news now that we're through the summer and we're into September and people are paying a little bit more attention to what's happening around the news. It's interesting to see that as we're coming into the November election season, the media all of a sudden is downplaying what had been building up to what people thought was going to be a Republican wave. In my opinion, I think it's kind of humorous watching them as they try to downplay it, but my sense of it is that I do think that the Republicans are going to take control of the Senate. I just hope that they also do that with the idea of showing real leadership.
Yeah, I guess it'll depend on which Republicans, right? I mean, we saw in 2010 how Republicans and that whole Tea Party movement was able to gain so many seats, and that was in the same situation. Obama, elected in 2008, 2010. Now, same thing here, elected in 2012, and we're in 2014. So, will there be that wave, as you say? And I think it's going to depend on, is there excitement? I think some of these candidates that Governor Palin's endorsing and some of these candidates that you and I have spoken about that we really like, there's excitement there. But when you have others who eked out, primary wins by outspending and, really doing the tactics of the establishment that we're so sick of, I don't know that there'll be much excitement for those.
The one thing that I do see happening is that President Obama is very in tune with politics and knows how to play it. And we all know that he is going to take executive action on the immigration issue going around Congress, but he is waiting until after the elections. And you can see, because of the news not being that hyped up here in our own country, it is worldwide with what's happening with ISIS, but just within our own economic news and our own home front here, I think that a lot of these things now have kind of calmed down, and that makes it a little easier for the Democrats in some of these seats that they thought for sure they were going to lose.
Yeah, and maybe ISIS will speak for itself, and, the lack of leadership from President Obama on this. I mean, the new revelations we're hearing about the Foley incident, just so disturbing. Perhaps people will link that to Obama and his team and say, hey, we got to get some new blood in there. Those that are paying attention, of course, not those that are worried about naked celebrities or Ray Rice or whatever else we're talking about instead of ISIS.
What is completely just so upsetting that the American public doesn't seem to understand is the obstruction that Senator Reid has shown as the leader of the Senate. I think that Congress has passed over 300 bills through their House, and not one of them, zero, has been taken up by the U.S. Senate. They are not doing their job, and it's because they have a leader who will not even work with the other side. So from my standpoint, I will be quite happy to see Republicans to take control of the U.S. Senate, but it's just my hope that this time when they have the majority in the Senate, that they will show some real leadership and some real courage on these issues that have been decimating our country under Democrat control.
Well, they better, because it might be their last chance if they don't.
That's right, Kevin.
Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Stimson in Virginia. More Commonwealth Common Sense next week. Now, our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. I recently listened to an old interview of Milton Friedman on YouTube discussing the power of the markets and the price mechanism. In the interview, he describes the magic of making a pencil and all the resources and services and people involved in manufacturing what appears to be a simple pencil. People all over the country freely, without coercion, participating in providing the goods and services needed to create that simple pencil. He enthusiastically embraced the notion that markets can operate without coercion from government and produce a pencil or other product and make other people better off while making themselves better off. That idea of the invisible hand was spelled out by Adam Smith in his great book, The Wealth of Nations, written in 1776. It is easy for us to forget how well that idea has worked in this country for over 200 years. We no longer have a pure free market. Certainly it's a mixed economy today. However, we still have the power that Adam Smith described and Milton Friedman enthusiastically embraced, that we each have the power in this country to follow our dreams without coercion if we choose to. Free to choose whether we want to buy a product or not buy a product at a particular price. The Republican Party has always believed in this idea, yet for some reason our current leaders are incapable of expressing a plan that ensures that individuals have the power in this country to create their own future. And the fall elections are right around the corner. Milton Friedman said, underlying most arguments against the free market is a lack of belief in freedom itself. Perhaps our Republican leaders don't believe anymore. This is Sarah Steelman for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Commonwealth Common Sense and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Susan B. Stimson, and at Sarah_Steelman. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Susan Stimson, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Clint Didier, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.